David Goggins once weighed close to 300 pounds. Then he decided he wanted to be a Navy SEAL, and a recruiter handed him the deadline: drop more than 100 pounds in under 3 months or the door stayed shut. He did it. More than 100 pounds, gone, in about 3 months. Same man, same frame, two completely different bodies, and that transformation points straight at something most people still get wrong about fat loss. Because he didn't find a magic fat loss workout. He built a system, and the fat came off as a result. Output, simple food, recovery, repeated discipline. Most people think fat loss is about cardio, long runs, fat-burning zones, sweating on a treadmill until the scale moves. Navy SEAL-style conditioning wasn't built around any of that. It was built around performance and repeatability, and getting lean was the side effect. That's the difference this whole video is about. So let's start with the first piece. Lesson 1. Fat loss is driven by total output, not fat-burning workouts. Here's the mistake almost everyone makes. They pick the workout that feels like it's burning fat. Slow cardio, a gentle incline, 45 minutes in the so-called fat-burning zone, moving just hard enough to sweat but easy enough to scroll their phone. It feels productive. On its own, it moves slowly. SEAL training was not organized around a fat-burning zone. It was organized around performance, hard, full-body work under load. And that matters, because fat loss is driven by the total energy your body spends across the entire day, not by the small slice of fat your watch says you burned on one easy jog. Hard full-body training does a few things a slow jog can't match. It costs real energy while you do it. It builds and preserves muscle, which quietly raises how much you burn every day. And it raises your work capacity, so you can do more productive work across the week. Slow cardio can help. It's useful for recovery and for adding to your daily movement. But it doesn't build the same strength, muscle, and capacity as hard full-body work. Here's the part that compounds. Muscle costs energy to maintain, but the bigger advantage is what it lets you do. You stay stronger, train harder, and keep producing more work while the fat comes off. Slow cardio provides far less of a muscle-preserving stimulus. Hard resistance training gives your body a reason to keep that muscle, so two men can lose the same weight, but the one who trained hard keeps his engine and ends up leaner and stronger, while the one who only jogged ends up smaller and softer at the same number on the scale. So the first shift is simple. Don't judge a workout by how much it feels like fat loss. Judge it by how much real output it produces and how well you recover from it. Carries, squats, pushing, pulling, big movements that make the whole body work at once. That's the work that changes a body. Lesson 2. Work capacity changes your body faster than comfort does. Now, here's the part most people miss. It's not just how hard one workout is. It's how much hard work you can handle, again and again, before you break down. That's work capacity. And it's the real engine behind a lean, useful body. SEAL conditioning is built to keep performing while exhausted. The whole culture is about staying productive past the point where a normal person quits. Why does that matter for fat loss? Because a person with high work capacity does more total work in a week. More sessions, more volume, faster recovery between efforts, more movement across the whole day without falling apart. Someone with low capacity does one hard workout, gets wrecked, and needs 3 days on the couch. Someone with high capacity trains hard, recovers, and goes again. Over a month, those two people live in completely different bodies. And this is the trap. Most people try to outsuffer their body in a single session. They destroy themselves once, then do nothing for a week. The smarter move is to raise the ceiling so hard work becomes repeatable. You build capacity gradually, a little more each week. More reps, more distance, slightly less rest. Your heart, lungs, and recovery all adapt. And as your capacity climbs, fat loss stops being an event you brace for and becomes something your body does in the background. This is why the strongest looking person in the room isn't always the fittest. Size on its own doesn't mean much when the work gets long. What carries a body through hours of effort is capacity, and capacity is exactly what burns through fat over weeks. You're not training to survive one workout. You're training to make hard work normal. If this kind of training logic makes sense to you, subscribe. This channel strips fitness back to what actually works. Back to it. Lesson 3. Simple, repeatable nutrition beats complex dieting. Here's where people overcomplicate everything. They assume the edge must be some perfect extreme diet. Exotic foods, zero carbs, a rule book so strict it runs your whole life. It's the opposite. The nutrition that supports real output is boring on purpose. Simple fuel, repeated, every day. Nothing you have to agonize over. And there's a reason that works, and the research keeps confirming it. Fat loss comes down to energy balance. You lose fat when you take in a bit less than you burn, held steady over time. Every diet that works through that. Fasting, low carb, whatever the label, matched calorie for calorie, they tend to land in roughly the same place. So the smart move isn't finding the perfect diet. It's building a way of eating you can actually repeat without willpower. That means 3 things. A small, sustainable deficit, not a crash that wrecks you in 2 weeks. Enough protein, because protein keeps you full and protects the muscle you're working to build. and simple, repeatable meals, so eating well takes almost no decisions. People don't fail because their diet wasn't clever enough. They fail because it was too complicated to keep. Cut the complexity. Same few meals, enough protein, a modest deficit, repeated until it's automatic. Think about how that world actually eats in the field. You don't get a curated menu, you get fuel, you eat it, you keep moving. That's not a limitation, that's the advantage. When food is simple and settled, you stop spending willpower on it, and willpower is the thing that runs out first. Every decision you remove is one less place to fail. Boring wins. Boring is the point. Lesson 4. Recovery is the multiplier. This is the one everybody skips, and skipping it is exactly why most people stall. Here's the logic. Your results don't come from the workout. They come from recovering from it and being able to do it again tomorrow. A body that recovers keeps producing output. A body that's broken can't, and output is the whole game. Now, there's a fair question here. If SEAL selection is famous for brutal sleep deprivation and misery, why does recovery matter? Because those tests are the point of failure, not the model for progress. Extreme military testing intentionally strips away sleep and recovery to expose who breaks. That's selection. Sustainable performance is built outside those tests, through sleep, hydration, food, preparation, and repeatable training. You don't get stronger during the test. You get stronger from everything you did to survive it. So treat recovery as part of the work. Sleep, water, enough protein to rebuild, basic carbs and fats to refuel. Nothing fancy. And watch this failure pattern. Someone gets motivated, trains like a maniac for 4 days, sleeps 5 hours, eats almost nothing, and grinds into the ground. By day 5, they're exhausted and starving, so they quit. They didn't lose because they weren't tough. They lost because they broke the machine that was supposed to keep producing. Fat loss is a long series of repeated efforts. Recovery is what lets them repeat. Lesson 5. Discipline beats motivation. And this is the lesson everything else stands on. Motivation feels great on day 1. It's gone by day 9. It disappears the moment you're cold, tired, sore, and it's raining, and you don't feel like it. SEAL conditioning doesn't run on motivation. It runs on discipline. You show up because you said you would, not because you feel inspired. Through the hardest stretches, nobody feels motivated. They keep moving anyway. The mind gets trained to function inside discomfort. Fat loss works the same way. You won't win it with one heroic workout. You win it with the workout you do on the day you want to do nothing. One more session, one more walk, one more simple meal instead of the easy mistake. Repeated for months. That's the real story behind that Goggins transformation, not a trick. A decision he kept making every day when stopping would have been easier. Here's the system, stripped down. Train hard 3 or 4 times a week. Full body, big movements. Carries, squats, pushing, pulling. Work that makes the whole body produce. Start with 3 sessions if your recovery is poor or you're coming back from nothing. Add the 4th only when 3 feels repeatable and you're waking up ready, not wrecked. Walk every day. This is your low-cost output tool. It adds to your total daily movement, it barely touches your recovery, and it costs you almost nothing. Keep it easy enough that it never eats into your training. Hard training builds the muscle and the work capacity. Walking stacks output on top without digging you into a hole. Eat in a small, sustainable deficit, a modest gap between what you eat and what you burn, not a crash. Keep protein high and meals simple, the same few meals you don't have to think about. Sleep and hydrate like they matter, because they're what let you repeat the effort tomorrow. And don't rebuild the plan every few days. Pick it, run it, and let it work. Chasing a new routine every week is how people stay busy and stay the same. Track progress you can actually measure. More reps at the same weight, better control, heavier carries, shorter rest between efforts, your waist trending down and your body weight trending down over the weeks. That's real. If the only proof you have is a feeling, it isn't progress yet. Make it something you can point to. That's the entire system. It's not clever. It just works. Because it's built the way that world was built. Output, simplicity, recovery, and consistency under discomfort. David Goggins didn't find a hack in those 3 months. He built a system that forced the change, then kept showing up long enough for it to happen. You don't need to copy his extreme method. You can copy the principles, produce real output, keep food simple, protect recovery, hold the line with discipline. Real fat loss was never about tricks. It was about building a system you could repeat until change became unavoidable. Output, simple food, recovery, discipline become harder to stop.